My name is H.A. Goodman, and I'm an author, columnist, and journalist. Hit subscribe right now. You definitely want to get the take of somebody who used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post. That's what they called me in an article about me. My writing was going viral regarding Bernie Sanders and The Hill, the Huffington Post salon. I stated that only Bernie could win, that Clinton would lose. I was right. I called the election in 2015, an article stating that Hillary Clinton was unelectable. I am now a Trump supporter. I will vote for Trump in 2020. I don't care who is the Democratic nominee, because the Democratic Party will only allow somebody corrupt, somebody disingenuous, somebody dishonest. The Democratic Party will only cheat for the most malleable individual, the person with the least amount of set values. The Democratic Party will only nominate somebody who is a loyalist to the Max Boot, Bill Kristol neoconservative foreign policy that is far more egregious than any euphemism or any words on Twitter. Which is why they will never ever allow Tulsi Gabbard to win the nomination. Okay, I love Tulsi Gabbard. I do not love Bernie Sanders anymore. I think he's a good human being. Bernie Sanders folded in 2 seconds. Bernie Sanders is now a tool of the Democratic Party, pushing Trump Russia every chance he gets. That's what happened. He knows very well that Trump didn't collude with Russia to inform the country that Bernie Sanders, that he was cheated. That's absurd. Tulsi Gabbard is a different story. Tulsi Gabbard has integrity. Tulsi Gabbard is an independent thinker. Tulsi Gabbard is an anti-interventionist, an anti-regime change politician in the mold of Rand Paul, President Trump, who's bringing home Americans from Afghanistan and Syria. Speaking of, how many people, men or women, do you know? Tulsi Gabbard reveals she met Assad in Syria without informing top Democrats. This is The Guardian. She actually flew to a war-torn country and met with a dictator. Now, the way that, without informing top Democrats, why did she ever need to inform anyone? That's another issue. The Democratic Party is loyal to itself, which is why during the DNC fraud lawsuit, it told Jared Beck, Elizabeth Beck, Nico House, 3 heroes, who will live forever because they're the only people who fought back against a corrupt Democratic Party after they cheated Bernie voters of $200 million. That's another issue that Bernie didn't talk about that he should have. But she didn't need to inform anyone. She took it upon herself to fly to a war-torn nation, a nation full of conflict, at great risk to herself. And whereas she should have been praised, she should have been complimented, she should have won some kind of, award, something. She's the epitome of just it was a heroic thing to do, especially a woman doing this. Any human being, man or woman. But all you hear from the left is, women's rights, and oh my God, and look at Twitter, and this is sexist, and this isn't. Here is a woman who's a veteran who flew to a nation experiencing the most horrendous, heinous civil conflict that was in turmoil, a dangerous mission. She went, spoke to the dictator without any accolades, without any praise. The Daily Beast went after her to a much lesser extent. Daily Beast went after me. Ever wonder why the Daily Beast doesn't go after all the wonderful fight the oligarchy, man pundits? Because most 95% of people on the left, they're tools of either the establishment. They're either tools of the establishment, or they serve the purpose of funneling votes into the Democratic Party or policing Democratic Party groupthink and thought police, just thoughts. There are so many factions within the Democratic Party that won't allow Tulsi Gabbard to win. The Max Boot, Bill Kristol, Hillary Clinton, neoconservative, regime change, they want to sort out that type of foreign policy, which I think is more important than anything said by an individual. If you are a person who will not send Americans off to never-ending chaos and mayhem, then you have my vote. Then I respect you. Whether it's Rand Paul or Tulsi Gabbard or President Donald Trump, who's bringing home close to 10,000 Americans, despite what the homeless walrus Bolton says. He's bringing home these Americans. That's what Obama should have done. He's presiding over peace between North and South Korea. That's what Obama should have been able to accomplish. Then he would have possibly deserved his Nobel Peace Prize. Trump deserves a Nobel Peace Prize for Libya, for not destroy. Obama destroyed Libya through a failed NATO intervention. That's what we're talking about here. But Trump should have won the Nobel Peace Prize because of the start of peace between North and South Korea. But Tulsi Gabbard left the DNC because she knew it was corrupt. Yet another reason Democrats will never allow her to win in 2020. 2024, Democrats could be completely revamped. They'll lose to Trump in 2020. I believe that I called the 2016 election. They'll lose to Trump in 2020. I was saying in 2015 Clinton couldn't win. She was up by 20. All the 538 didn't even think that Trump would be GOP nominee. All the data and all the wonderful pundits with their data-driven analysis. Nate Cohn, 3 days before the election, the New York Times said that she has a solid electoral college lead, Clinton. I was saying that she was going to lose. Only Styx Exenhammer was even more accurate than I was. But Tulsi Gabbard will never be allowed to become nominee. She's running for president. Democrats will never allow her to become nominee because she took the initiative to actually fly to a conflict-ridden nation and speak to a despot to try to find a way to ensure that there's peace, or at least some kind of dialogue. At least since we had American station, hopefully they'll be coming home soon. We have Americans there, plus we had Russia. Hillary Clinton wanted a no-fly zone. The insurgents don't have airplanes. She's not the sharpest tool in the shed. And we've already had encounters, military encounters with Russians in that location. So, and if I'm not saying the name of the country, YouTube policies is very interesting. If you say the name of certain countries too often, or if you say certain words too often, the algorithm demonetizes the platform. So if you want to support me on my Patreon link, that is below my Second Amendment links. Check out my Second Amendment channel. It's growing. It's on its way to 5,000 subs. Check out the links below. But anyway, that's why I kind of have to be a little bit more verbose than I'd like, because you can't say certain things. So she flew to a nation, spoke to a despot, all to further dialogue for some peaceful resolution. No, Democrats don't like that. They care more about what people say on Twitter. She left the DNC before they completely cheated Bernie Sanders. So she actually, she was, one of the top brass at the DNC. She left her post because she realized that it was just completely a racket. She realized that it was not a political, it was not functioning in a proper manner. So let's just see. Tulsi leaves DNC. Tulsi Gabbard calls for complete overhaul of DNC. February 28th, Tulsi Gabbard steps down from DNC and endorsed Bernie Sanders. Why is that important? I'm no longer a progressive. I'm a Trump supporter. I'm a Second Amendment advocate. I have a Second Amendment channel. Check that out. But why is that important? Because Tulsi Gabbard had the courage. Tulsi Gabbard is a beautiful human being who has the courage to go against the groupthink. Most of the Democratic Party, Elizabeth Warren, was like it's like, I haven't seen backstabbers like that since reading Julius Caesar, Shakespeare's Julius Caesar. My goodness. Elizabeth Warren with the beer, and oh my God, you drank beer. Oh, that's so amazing. You're really one of the people. You think you're talking about Elizabeth Warren talked about breaking up too big to fail banks, which actually makes sense, which nobody's talking about anymore. Bernie sure isn't. But then she goes and what, $150 million between Bill and Hillary in terms of speeches to Wall Street, and then she wouldn't even disclose a speech transcript where she said she had a public and private face, and then the New York Times says, oh, by the way, why Hillary Clinton needs to be two-faced. There was an actual opinion article talking about why Hillary Clinton had to be two-faced. So we can go on forever. The point is this. And then they go after Trump. Oh, what a liar. Well, I mean, you can't get a bigger... You can't be a bigger liar than Clinton. She actually cheated Bernie Sanders with Deborah Wasserman Schultz. She actually cheated Bernie Sanders. The Democratic primary, the Democratic National Committee is still run. Is Debbie Wasserman Schultz out of the picture? No. Is Donna Brazile out of the picture? No. There have been zero repercussions. They've all blamed Russia. Same thing happens with pundits. If Joy Reid at MSNBC has a homophobic blog post, she blames Russia, or she says, sorry, please forgive me. And then, of course, but if it's the other way around, someone says something horrible, conservative or whatever, oh, you can't forgive that person. So Tulsi Gabbard has said certain things in the past that the whole Justice Warriors might not forgive, whatever. She stated that she changed her viewpoint. That also will prevent her at this moment in time from winning the nomination. Meanwhile, you have Hillary Clinton, who opposed gay marriage in 2013. I don't know anyone who opposed gay marriage in 2013. I wrote in defense of gay marriage in the Huffington Post before the landmark Supreme Court ruling. But Hillary Clinton opposed it in 2013. I think, even after Tulsi Gabbard changed her views. But that was okay. See, the thing is, the hypocrisy on the left is just, they don't even know what the word means. They actually call it whataboutism. So when they're trying to condemn you, and you say, hey, wait, you voted for somebody worse, there's, whataboutism. It's like, yeah, exactly. What about the person you voted for who was far worse than Trump in deed and in rhetoric and everything else? Especially for me, this is why people don't get it. There are people who how can you go from Bernie to Trump? Well, you go from Bernie to Trump, or you go from Rand Paul, or you go from, you thought Elizabeth Warren was a certain way, to Rand Paul, to Bernie, to Trump, or to Jill Stein, because number one, if foreign policy is the biggest, your most important issue, the most important issue you're voting on, what defines your vote, if foreign policy defines your vote, then all Bernie supporters should vote for Trump. Because he's presiding over peace between North and South Korea, and he's bringing home, which vindicated me and all my support, all the heat I took. Ross Story wrote a hit piece on me when I was a Bernie supporter. They wrote a hit piece on me when I'm a Trump supporter. You can't win with Ross Story. It's like the soda pop of journalism. Like the bubblegum soda pop of journalism. It's just like a tabloid, political tabloid. So they go after people who just don't play ball with the Democratic establishment. But I was vindicated. Vindicated because when Trump said, hey, we're bringing home Americans from Afghanistan, and, and the country that Tulsi Gabbard visited, then that says to me, okay, exactly what I wanted took place. I want Americans home from never-ending, perpetual conflict. I want Americans home. I don't want them indefinitely stationed in chaotic environments forever, battling unseen enemies. We learned from Vietnam. We should have learned from just, from the Bush years, Iraq, Afghanistan, but we haven't. And the Democratic Party is not ready to reverse course on a regime change interventionist foreign policy, which is mainly why Tulsi Gabbard will not be allowed to win. That, and she wants a complete overhaul of the DNC. She originally supported Bernie, did not support Clinton. So the Democratic Party apparatus will be against her. I believe that she's running in 2020 to lay the groundwork for 2024. I believe she can win in 2024 because Republicans are going to have a difficult time, because Trump is going to go 8 years. He'll win in 2020. And Republicans are going to have a difficult time trying to come up with somebody with 1/10 the charisma of Trump. Trump has charisma. People might say, "Oh, he has no charisma." No, he has swag. He has a personality. His charisma is a very unique type of charisma that's unique to him. Republicans are probably going to get some kind of Ted Cruz, some kind of establishment but populist wannabe type person. They're going to be an interventionist. And the anti-war candidate is the anti-interventionist or anti-regime change candidate, and that'll be Tulsi Gabbard in the Democratic Party. She's laying the groundwork for 2024. That's obvious. She can win in 2024. She can win, but the Democratic Party has to implode. And we'll see if they implode. There has to be indictments of Clinton for the endless stream of criminal activity, from the Clinton Foundation to transferring top secret intel outside of the U.S. government onto a server that was hacked by the world. Give me your thoughts below. I really like Tulsi Gabbard. I think she's great. I think she's awesome. But she's too genuine, and she's too honest, and she's too non-interventionist for the Democratic Party. And Democrats are only going to nominate somebody who they can manipulate, which is why anyone who wins this year or 2020, I won't vote for. I'll only vote for Trump. Give me your thoughts. Hit subscribe. Thank you.